And go ahead, you can be cross-legged and begin by taking a nice deep inhale and exhale. I invite you to close your eyes as you inhale and exhale. Begin to slow down the breath. Begin to notice the breath. Oftentimes during the day, our breath is really shallow. So think now about nice, long exhales, followed by nice, long inhales. Take a little body scan, starting at the floor, just to kind of notice how everything is feeling today. You can start with your feet and your ankles. Just notice them. Are they relaxed? Are they tense? Then move your way up to your knees. How do your knees feel sitting the way you're sitting? And then up to your hips. Are your hips and your bum like flat on the floor, nice and even? Is one side raised a little bit? Do they feel symmetrical? And then up through your arms, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. Can you lower your shoulders a little bit? Is there any tension in your shoulders? And then notice your neck, the back of your head, the top of your head, the crown. How does everything feel? Is there any tightness there? Is there any pain? Does it feel pretty good? A few more deep breaths, long, deep inhales, and long, deep exhales. And then slowly begin to move your hips. Hands can stay on your knees. You're going to make little circles with your hips around your spine. So imagine moving in one direction and then to the other. Little circles, waking up the hips, waking up the spine. We'll go in one direction for a little while and then we'll swap. Hips are still flat on the floor. And your circles start kind of small, but then maybe they get a little bit bigger. Maybe you're able to lean a little bit further to the side, to the front, to the back. Waking everything up. A few more in this direction. And then the next time you come through the center in the front, go ahead and reverse direction. And start with the circles a little bit smaller. Just imagine your body, your torso kind of rotating around your spine. You'll feel it in your hips. You'll feel it in your spine. As the circles get bigger and bigger, you'll feel it in your shoulders. A few more of these. And then the next time your body, your torso comes through the front, go ahead and pause. And in the spirit of circles, let's go ahead and just give ourselves little wrist circles. So little wrist circles in one direction. Your wrists have probably been working all day, typing, writing, who knows what. We'll do some nice circles in one direction, and then go ahead and reverse direction. We're really focusing on our wrists, but of course our arms and our shoulders get into it. Can't help it. I'm hearing lots of little cricks and cracks in my own wrists. This is probably something that I should do more often. And then lower your hands down to your knees. And the final circles for now are some shoulder circles. So start front to back. Shoulders come up toward our ears and then roll backwards and then down away from the ears. Like all the other circles, they can kind of start small. And then as we begin to loosen, the shoulder circles get wider and our arms are in it. And then all of a sudden our elbows are flailing. Well, maybe flailing isn't the right word, but we can't keep our elbows down because our circles are so big. Front to back. And then one more in this direction, and then pause, hands to knees, and then reverse direction. Starting relatively small, and then increasing the size of the circles. And breathing. And the next time arms come around, go ahead and rest them just for a moment on the knees as you notice your shoulders and your hips. And then gently roll forward onto tabletop. I'll turn sideways, but you don't need to. We're going to do just a few cat and cow poses here. As you inhale, your head comes up and your belly goes down. Hands push into the mat. And as you exhale, your back arches in the opposite direction. Your chin comes to your chest. And as you inhale, the head goes up, belly goes down. And as you exhale, reverse that movement. Do this on your own, at your own pace, but really allowing the inhales to move you up and the exhales to move you down. Further awakening the spine, loosening the spine, loosening the hips and the neck, and also just noticing how this feels in different places along the spine. Couple more of these. In each direction. And then the next time your head comes through neutral with a relatively flat back, pause. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. And go ahead and take that right leg and just push it back. It's not raised. It's actually, you can't see this because we've got a table in the way, but just push it into the mat. There you go. Just push it for a nice calf stretch. The wrists are under your shoulders, left knee is on the floor, and your right leg is just pushing back. Nice stretch, opening up that right calf and your hamstrings. Sort of pulse a little bit back and forth, gently opening up that calf and the back of your leg. Should feel nice. If anything doesn't feel nice, go ahead and stop. And then lower that right leg and switch legs. Bring the left leg back. Toes into the mat. Nothing is raised. And pulse back and forth to open up that left calf and the left back of the hamstrings. A nice gentle way to open up the back of the legs. Gentle pulsing. Nice stretch. And then lower that knee down. And now this time, when you reach your, I want you to reach your right leg back and point your toes. So it's raised this time. Before it was on the mat, now it's raised. Toes are pointed. Try and do this while keeping your hips level to the ground, if that makes sense. So you're not kind of opening up your hip to the sky or to the side of the room. Your hips are still facing down, facing the mat, the front of your hips. And that back leg is out behind you. Either stay here or reach your opposite arm, your left arm, out in front of you. And I apologize, you can't see all of me, but we've done this before, so I'm hoping. Right leg is out back. Left arm is out front, and you're reaching in opposite directions. A little bit of a balance pose. And then lower both your hand and your knee down. Shift around, readjust a little bit. Make sure your wrists are under your shoulders, proper alignment. And then reach your left leg back. So again, this time it's raised off the ground, but the front of your hips are square toward the mat. They're flat toward the mat. You're not opening up your hip, even though your leg is raised. Toes are pointed. And either stay here or this time reach your right arm toward the front of your room. So left foot is pointed behind you, right arm is pointed forward. Reach, reach, reach. Try not to curve your back too much. And then lower down. Good, good, good. Last variation on this, we're going to do some little pulses. So this time, you reach your right foot back and your left arm forward. And then as you inhale, I want you to bring that left elbow to your right knee. And then as you exhale, push back, reach, reach, reach away. And then inhale, bring that left elbow to your right knee. Exhale it out. Inhale, elbow to knee. Exhale, reach. We'll do one more of each. Inhale, elbow to knee. Exhale, last reach, 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 point, 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 and lower down. Good, wiggle that out. Wiggle the hips. Realign your little tabletop position, and we'll do it on the other side. Reach your left leg back and your right leg forward. And then inhale, this time the right elbow to the left knee. Exhale, reach, open up. Inhale, right elbow to left knee. Exhale, reach, reach, reach. Two more. Inhale, elbow to knee. Exhale, long stretch. Last one. Inhale, elbow to knee. And exhale, reach, 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 reach. And then lower down to tabletop. Touch your toes, widen your knees, and sit back into child's pose. Arms can be outstretched in front of you, head can be on the mat, or if you prefer to make a little pillow with your hands and put your head on the back of your hands, that's fine too. I'll stay here a moment. No matter where your hands are right now, go ahead and reach them forward. We're going to stay in child's pose, but I'm going to have you walk your hands over to the right, off the right side of the mat. Lower your head down. So you're in child's pose, but you're getting a nice long stretch along the left side of the body. Sink back into your hips. Long, deep breaths. And then raise your head just enough so that you can walk your hands back to the middle of the mat and then off to the left side of the mat. And then bring your head down. This time you're going to get a nice stretch along the right side of the body, especially the right arm and the right shoulder socket. And then raise your head, walk your hands back to the center of the mat. Come up to tabletop. And then we're going to move into a modified version of plank where it's not as hard on your wrists. So a few of the things we're going to do today are alternatives to you if your wrists are ever giving you trouble. So we're going to do a forearm plank instead. So if you come down so that your shoulders are over your elbows, and you can see I'm not putting any weight on my wrists at all. And then I'm going to push back into a plank, but I'm on my forearms. Okay, and breathe. We're pushing back through our heels, just like we did a few moments ago, one leg at a time. And then lower down to the mat. And come into what's called Sphinx Pose. So your arms haven't really moved. Your elbows are under your shoulders. Your arms are out in front of you. Palms are flat against the mat. Your toes are pointed. Tops of the toes are on the feet behind you. And there's a gentle arch in your back. If the arch in your back is too much, lower down. Hopefully you can stay here for a moment. Wiggle your hips a little bit on the mat. And then pull your shoulders back. So that imagine like your heart, your chest are kind of beaming forward. Beaming forward. Shoulders are back. Your gaze is straight ahead. Your head is raised. And we're breathing into this back bend. then go ahead, just turn your gaze, look to the right, sort of look down toward your right foot, just to give you a little bit of a side bend. And then come back towards the center. And then go ahead and look down toward your left foot. Get all kinds of stretches when we do this. Remember, shoulders are over elbows, palms are flat into the mat, your hips are in the mat, your legs are rested, but we're getting some nice stretches here. And then back to center, gazes toward the front. And then tuck your toes so that you can come back up onto your knees. And now we're going to do a version of downward dog with our forearms. So tuck your toes and push up to downward dog, but still we're on our forearms instead of our hands, instead of our wrists. Hands are free. You can lift your hands up off the ground, no effort there. This might be easier on your wrists, but it might be harder in other ways. So go ahead and play around with where your feet are. If it's okay to be up closer to you, if you want to push them back a little bit, pedal them out just as we do for our first downward dog of the day. But you're basically in that same triangular pose as you are for downward dog, but it's wrist free. This is called Dolphin. Lower your knees back down. Come up to your knees just to kind of wiggle everything out for a minute. We're going to do that series again of plank to Sphinx to Dolphin. All these new fancy terms. But go ahead and wiggle out first. Again, in some ways this is easier, but in some ways it's a little bit harder if you're not used to it. It's a tight angle for your hips. So lower back down. We're going to begin with forearm plank. So elbows are under your shoulders. Palms are flat against the mat. Tuck your toes and come into a plank. Your feet might need to lengthen and move like a little bit behind you. Breathe into this plank. Plank's not easy in any pose, whether it's on your wrists or on your forearms. So take some deep breaths to hold you here. And then lower your hips down to the mat. Flip the tops of your feet. And sort of bring your shoulders back and your heart and your chest forward for Sphinx. Stay here a moment, a couple deep breaths in and out. Feel free to play around with the movement of your arms. Find a good spot where you really feel like your chest can be kind of shining forward. And your hips are heavy on the mat. Fingers are spread, middle fingers are kind of pointing forward. Wiggle your hips. And then as we did before, go ahead and turn your gaze, turn your head toward the right and look back at your right foot to the best of your ability. Look at a gentle twist here and a little bit of a side stretch. Deep breath in and out. And then come back, so your gaze is toward the front for just a moment, and then look the other direction. Look over your left shoulder, back toward your left foot. This is a nice counter pose to what we do for most of the day when we're sitting down. This is bending the back in the opposite direction. but in a really supported way, because you always have the ground supporting you. And then come back toward the front. Tuck your toes so you can push up to your knees and find your dolphin. So you have to bring your knees in a little bit. Readjust your arms, make sure your elbows are under your shoulders, and then push up to dolphin. Downward dog on your forearms. Paddle out your feet. And breathe. If you hate this, or if it's really not working for your body, feel free to come up to regular downward dog. Again, there are challenges to each one that are a little different from each other. And then lower your knees down. Come on up to all fours. And take your right leg and put it between your hands. We're coming into a lunge. So your right leg is forward at a 90-degree angle. Left leg is back. And we're just going to sink into our hips. Normal lunge. If your left knee hurts from the mat, the floor, go ahead and pad it with a blanket or a towel. Or fold the mat over so that you have double padding on the mat. We're dropping into our hips. Our front leg is at a right degree, 90-degree angle, right angle. And we're breathing. And then go ahead and come back. Scooch that leg forward so you can straighten it. And maybe you stay up here as it's straight. Maybe you can fold forward a little bit and bring your hands toward the floor. You're going to feel this in the back of your right leg. We're still on the right leg. You're going to feel it, but go ahead, you scooch. You're probably going to have to scooch your leg forward from where it was. It was here. And you're going to have to scooch that foot forward so you can get it as straight as possible. And then again, you could stay up here and already feel that stretch in your leg, or you can work down to a little bit of a forward fold over that leg. I'm going to hang out here for a moment and just breathe. Opening up that back leg. And then go ahead and bend that right leg and bring it back so it's next to the other one on the floor. And take your left leg, your left foot, and bring it forward. Step it between your hands, 90-degree angle, and then pop on up to lunge on the other side. I'm going to move that left leg forward a little bit so that my hips can sink deeper into the lunge. You want that foot in a spot where this can be a 90-degree angle up front, but you can still be sinking down to a point that feels like good, like you're at a good stretch, not too much, not too little. Where you're like, oh yeah, I needed to open that a little bit, but it's all very controlled and no pain. That's how it should feel. And again, take care of that right knee. All of our knees are different from each other. Some people can do this for a long time with no problem. Some people need padding. And then go ahead and straighten that left leg. I'm going to have to scoot it forward a little bit in order to get my hands down to the floor to fold over it. So options here are, if you're feeling it right now, straight, toes are kind of pointed up, your foot is flexed, so your toes are pointed up. I'm not sure if I said that on the other side. If this is good, stay here. If you want to bring your arms down to the mat, to get a little further into that forward fold over the left leg, you can do that. And breathe. And this too should feel like, oh yeah, what a nice opening. Ooh, haven't gotten in there recently, but no pain. Just a little edge maybe, if that makes sense. Another moment here. Take a nice inhale and a nice exhale. And then go ahead and plant that foot again keep your left foot up front, planted at a 90-degree angle. Rise on up, hands to hips, and take that back leg and you're just going to turn it a little bit for support. So you can see my right leg is behind me, my left leg is in front of me, is behind me, it's in front of me. Left leg is where it was when we were doing these lunges, so it's at a 90-degree angle. And then the right leg is kind of, my foot is behind me. Hands are on your hips, and this will make more sense, I think, when we raise our arms up. So raise your arms up to Warrior Two pose. So what this is like a kneeling Warrior Two. So, you know, we're usually doing this when we're standing up. And I thought we would try it kneeling and just sort of see if that gives us any more stability, any more confidence, any more flexibility. We can certainly get that. It's a little bit easier to get that front knee to a 90-degree angle, whereas I don't know about you, but when I'm standing, I can hardly ever get it there. Okay, your gaze is out over your fingers, your front fingers. And take a few breaths here. And then lower that back arm down. Maybe it comes all the way to the mat. For me, it's my right arm is on the ground. I think you're doing the same as I am as far as right arm, left arm. So left arm up toward the sky, right arm comes down. Maybe you have a block if your right arm hand doesn't come all the way down, or maybe there's a table or a water bottle or a soup can or something you can grab if it's not comfortable to come all the way down to the ground. Nice stretch. And then reverse and bend your front arm and go ahead and rest your elbow onto your knee and bring that right arm up the other way. Good. Looks good. You're all teeny tiny on the screen, but it looks good, teeny tiny. And then again, lower that right arm down to the floor, raise the other arm up toward the sky. And then over your head a little bit. Nice stretches here. And once more, bring your elbow to your knee and rainbow the other arm up over your head in this way. Good. Nice. And then arms come back to your side, Warrior Two, kneeling. And then go ahead and kind of plant your hands on either side of your foot. Take your back foot and sort of straighten it out so it's alongside the mat. And then take your front foot and bring it alongside your back leg. And then just switch. So I'm going to bring my right leg forward this time to a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to come up. And this time I'm going to spin my left leg so that my foot is sort of behind my bum. I don't know how else to describe that, but I think you have it. Okay, and I'm actually gonna switch direction here so that I can still face you, but you don't have to. Still my right leg and my left leg. And then arms outstretched, Warrior Two. Gaze is out over the right hand, the front hand, whichever hand that is for you. And we're in a really stable Warrior Two while kneeling. That front leg is working toward a right angle, or maybe it's there since we're kneeling. And we feel really strong, really firm. on the ground. And then we're going to flip that front palm as we reverse backwards. The back arm, left side for me, comes down to the mat or down to a block or a soup can or a water bottle. And the right arm comes up and over. And then we reverse, and that right elbow comes to the right knee, and the other arm rainbows up and over. Oh, that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, back out of it, readjust, bring your arm down if it doesn't feel good. You're always welcome to go to child's pose. And reverse again, so that left arm comes down to the floor, right arm rainbows up and over. Front leg is still 90-degree angle. Don't lose that shape if you can help it. Or at least you're working toward it, meaning you're pushing in that direction. And then reverse, right arm comes to your right knee. Left arm rainbows up and over. And we're breathing. And we're opening our heart, opening our chest, opening our shoulders and our hips. And go ahead and return the arms to warrior two position, out by your sides. Gaze is over your front fingers, your front hands, fingers. And then exhale, let that go. Bring your knees together. And we're just going to step up to a forward fold. So go ahead and put your hands on the floor and go step, step into a forward fold. Hopefully we're nice and loose now. Our low back is open. Knees are bent. We're in a nice fluid rolled position over our lower half. Feet are hip width apart. And then bring your hands to your hips so you can roll on up to a standing position. Good job. We're gonna do chair now. Actually, take a moment. Ooh. I'm getting warm. Let's see if I can make you guys any bigger on my screen. There. Okay, good job. So we're gonna do chair. So you guys will face me and bring your big toes together. Your heels can be a little bit apart, but your big toes are together. And the idea is that the outsides of your feet are parallel. So look at your feet, toes together, heels are a little bit apart, and the outsides of the edges of your feet are parallel, okay? And then go ahead and bring your hands to heart, and you're just going to sit back into your chair. I'm gonna turn sideways so that you can see what this looks like. You're just going to sit back into your chair. Your back is as straight as you can get it. And then if you're wondering, ooh, should I be really far forward or should I be really far backwards? The key is that you can still see your toes when you bend your knees. So your knees aren't so far forward that you can't see your toes. And if you go too far backwards, you'll fall. So there's no instruction for that. Just don't go too far backward or you'll fall. And take some deep breaths. This is a hard pose to maintain. It's a really, really good one because this imitates something that we do every day. We have to sit, we have to get out of a chair. We sit, we get up, we sit, we get up, we sit, we get up. And you'll see as people get older, I'm thinking like much older, like my mother, she has a hard time doing this. So every time I do chair, I think I don't ever want to have a hard time getting up from a chair or sitting into a chair. So I'm going to practice this as much as I can, even though it's hard. Another breath here. And then release and just stand up. Ooh, who's not standing? Could feel so good. Shake it out. Shake it out. Okay. We're going to do it again. So bring your big toes together and bring your heels a little bit apart so that your feet, the outer edges of your feet are parallel. Bring your hands to your heart and then sit back into your chair. Back is straight. You can see your toes. Your knees aren't too far forward that they're hiding your toes. And you're sitting in a chair. And if this feels good or good enough, stay with your hands here. If you'd like to try raising your arms up, sort of as an extension of your back. So imagine like flat back, just leading right into your hands. Few more breaths here, nice and strong. Deep breaths. Think about your 95-year-old self. I'm just kidding, my mom is not 95, but think about your older self getting in out of chairs and how you'll thank yourself for this pose. And release. Woo. Good job. Good job. Okay. I need to get you down. Oh, I know what to do. Okay, sorry, I missed a transition there. So go ahead and bring your hands to your heart at the front of your mat. And inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Your knees are bent, your back is soft. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands and just come back to tabletop. Okay? Nothing too crazy. Just gonna come back to tabletop. And what I want you to do, I'm going to face you in tabletop because what you're gonna do is take your left knee. Can you see I'm too far forward? Take your left knee and then just put it behind your right knee and sit back onto it. What you wanna do is have your knees stacked on top of each other. Okay? So some of you will have this lovely kind of alignment with like your right knee right on top of your left knee, but not everyone will. Some of you will be a little bit looser than that, and that's okay. And if you're really not comfortable with your knee stacked like this, take the lower leg and just straighten it. This works just as well. All right, so those are your options. Either your knees are stacked right on top of each other, or they're a little bit less stacked, or your bottom leg is just out straight. All right, and it's important that this left arm is, that the right leg is bent. And I should have told you to have your strap handy. So hopefully you have your straps kind of nearby. Go get those. I've never taught this before. So bear with me. You're my guinea pigs. Okay. And I'm going to turn around so you can see my hands, because what happens here is that your, what am I doing here? If this is like this, your left arm, so my right leg is on top. I just want to make sure I'm doing the same as you. My right leg is on top. Your left arm is going to go behind you. Maybe it's down here, maybe it's up here, maybe you're super flexible and it's like way up between your shoulder blades. Find a spot wherever it is. And then I want you to take your strap in your other hand and bend your arm so that your elbow is up by the top of your head and that the strap reaches down so that you can kind of connect your hands with your strap. If you didn't have a strap, which I can't do this, but your hands would basically be working toward each other to grab onto each other. But since most of us can't do that, you're going to take a strap and drop it down so that you can hold the strap instead. Does that make sense? Let's see. Yes, 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 you've got it. Excellent. All right. Super. Let me get back into there. And so this Does a lot of things. This is a hip opener and a shoulder opener at the same time. So take some deep breaths here. Your spine is straight up, so try not to crunch forward or try not to arch too much, but sit up nice and straight. If your arms are feeling like, oh, I can go a little further, maybe you work them closer to each other on the strap, or you just hang out right here. And breathe. Notice a nice opening in your right shoulder. And then your left shoulder is going the opposite direction. Another breath here. And then release the strap, release your arms. And then pay attention to which leg is on top. And then go ahead, shake out your legs. Just sort of shake them out in front of you, lean back, shake them out. But remember which leg was on top. For me, it was the right, so I think you were doing what I was doing. And then go ahead and take the other leg on top. So for me, it's the left. Left leg is on top. And then again, your bottom leg can be straight out in front of you, or it can be bent, and your knees can be stacked on top of each other. Okay, and then this time, I'll turn again, so working with the same thing. This time, it's my right arm that is going to go underneath, and it's going to find its way somewhere into the middle of my back. And my left arm, I'm going to reach up and drop that strap. Drop that strap down and work my hands close to each other on the strap so that my left arm is being open, open, open up by the side of my head, and my left arm is being pulled down. Good, good, good. I love this pose. I've just rediscovered this pose, actually, obviously. I don't think we've done it yet. And afterward, I felt so nice and open, because even though your legs are all scrunched up together, it's widening your hips. It's like opening your hips. And it's certainly opening your chest and your shoulders. So, couple deep breaths here. Your spine is straight. It's not arched too much forward or too much backward. Straight. And your hips are both on the ground. Like the bottom of your hips, kind of your butt cheeks are planted pretty evenly on your mat. And then take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let it all go. Let your arms go, let the strap go. Reach behind you, put your legs out in front of you and either shake them out or windshield wiper them back and forth to let that go. Puppy, you want to do yoga? Okay, we're going to work our way onto our backs. I was going to do a nice boat pose. My dog is in the way, but I was going to get into a nice V and then slowly lower down onto the mat. So go ahead, find your way down to the mat. Ellen, get out of the way, my love. See, I'm all sweaty now, so she wants to lick me. Anyway, however you'd like, lower on down to your mat. Eleanor, you're going to have to get out of the way, sweetie. Oh, I know. Do you want to go outside? Here. There you go. That's all. Okay, sorry about that. So lower yourself down. Knees are bent. Knees are bent and feet are flat on the floor. And then go ahead and hug your right knee into your chest. Nice little hug there. Oh, give it some love. Lower your left leg down to the floor so it's nice and straight on the floor. And then take your hand to your right knee and then just bring it across your body toward the left into a gentle twist. Your right arm can go off to the right. Maybe it's a big cactus arm. When I say cactus arm, right, you know what I mean? It's like a sort of a 90-degree bend in the elbow. Left knee is to the left. Sorry, right knee is to the left. Left leg is straight out on the floor. Right arm is to the right. And your gaze is wherever you'd like it to be. Either it's looking straight up toward the sky, to the right, maybe to the left. Maybe it's the same direction as your knees. Knee. And breathe. And then slowly raise that knee back up. We're going to bend both knees. Legs are flat on the floor. When you can, hug your left knee into your chest and lower your right leg down along the mat. Hug that left knee in. Hug, hug, hug. We've done all kinds of things to the hips today, so just notice how each hip feels when you hug the knee in. And then take that left knee in your right hand and bring it down toward the right side of the body. Left arm goes off to the left. Left knee goes down to the right. Right leg is straight on the floor, flat on the floor. And your gaze is wherever it feels really good. Hi, puppy. Yes, I love you too. You're slobbering. And then begin to roll that left knee back up, only to lower it down into Shavasana. So go ahead and find your favorite corpse pose. Could be flat on your back. It could be wall. It could be with a block under your sacrum, your hips, if you like a supported bridge. But find a really comfortable place for you to hang out for the next few minutes, arms down by your side or arms on your belly, where you can really let the ground or the wall support you, and you can allow your body to process all of the work that you did just now. You can let go of anything that you're holding on to. Let the ground support you. Scan your body to see if you are holding tightness anywhere. And if you are, take a big exhale and see if you can soften that tightness wherever it is. Begin to take a big inhale and exhale. Let that breath come into your fingers and your toes and create some small movements and then some bigger movements. Maybe reach your arms up over your head for a full body stretch. Wiggle your hips. Slowly draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Roll over onto your side. You know the drill. Slowly work yourself up to seated position or stay on the floor if you want and just continue this yumminess for as long as you like since you're home anyway. If you are coming up to a seated position, bring your hands to your heart. Quickly do that little scan of your body from your ankles to your knees, to your hips, to your elbows and your shoulders, up through your neck to the crown of your head. How does it feel? Is it more open? Is it looser? Is it tighter? Is it tired? Is it joyful? Express some gratitude to yourself for coming to the mat today. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Namaste.